His 60th birthday, Gary Renshaw, Memories, March 2015. What can be noted about someone whose life has intersected with so many people over the period of 60 years? Is it the memory of how an exploring young boy at the age of 2 attempted to walk across an outlet from a pond at Sutler Creek on an unsupported plank? He slipped and fell in the pond with a splash, loud enough to be heard by Mac Davenport, a visiting medical student who had just arrived from Pennsylvania, who rushed to pull him out of the 8-inch deep water. His life was to be saved, to be shared with all of us now.
Still can't swim.
Exploring and mechanical adventures has been one of the hallmarks of his life. The search for how things worked and excitement of disassembly and assembly of anything mechanical has led to a very respected and self-educated individual. All of this was evident at a very young age. Some years ago, while I was in college and assigned the task of writing observations for a psychology class about the development of a young child, I chose to observe and write on Gary's development at the age of 5. There was no better opportunity than a sunny fall day in his parents' rented home on McPherson's property, located a short distance from his grandparents' home, to visit with his mother, Darlene, and watch him interact with his sisters, Sunny and Gail. The scene was in the living room kitchen area with the sun warming the room, and Gary was engrossed with toys that he had at his disposal, mainly cars and trucks. Imagine that. Details of the report I wrote vaguely indicated that he was a very happy, always smiling, a well-accepted and adjusted child. Not a surprise when you're surrounded by the freedom of the outdoors, parents whose livelihood thrived on wilderness adventures, and a doting grandmother who could see only the best in him.
Yes.
We'll have to talk with her someday, I think. That's not to say that he was beyond tormenting his sisters or testing his watchful eyes of his parents with his wanderings. He has always been interested in machinery, farming equipment, jeeps, tractors, whatever was in need of repair. His interest and knowledge grew out of a natural curiosity and obvious need to fill in with his strength where others in his family chose to devote their time and energy to more of the animal interests and uses associated with earning a livelihood. His experience in the mountains, shared with all of his family, brought only more self-reliance and exploration of his development to his character. The Fish Lake campsite was only an extension of his playground and learning. The lengthy trail rides were as common to him as the trips of today are by car and plane. Backcountry flying as a passenger in light aircraft was also a part of his life. Saddles and horses, bridles, ropes, and manis were part and parcel of his everyday experience. Close observation of wildlife, fishing, and hunting afforded him a background of understanding available to only the select of our existence. His life at Trout Creek must stir memories of the log cabin, horses around the barn, beds upstairs, and the large wood burning cook stove with an attached water heater. This wilderness home provided him with an additional space to explore. The sound of an occasional airplane could be heard landing or taking off at one of the nearby airports. Time intervened after Judy and I were married, with the separation of our lives and his, while we were at college, followed by employment. The memories that stand the strongest during this time was associated with how Gary was always available to help his aging grandmother, as well as helping Judy and I when we returned home for visits. There was always the need for repairs. I cannot fully express the appreciation. Can I get through this?
Yes, you can, Ellen. Wiggle your toes.
For all of the help he gave over the years, and to do so seemingly with such willing and generous attitude. Oh, shoot. his expertise to help install a large water reservoir and a new sewer system on his grandmother's place. Another story could be told about the attempts to capture escaped hogs from an overturned livestock truck upriver from Rensick property. No success, as I recall. Gary is an example of loyalty, integrity, persistence, and devotion to family. And he has 4 beautiful children, grandchildren, and a wonderful wife to grace his life with love. With tongue in cheek, and to quote Buster Blundell, Gary is a gentleman and a scholar, to be remembered in our wills, with all of our debts. Debts of love and gratitude. Happy birthday, Gary. And I will leave you on.
You wonder what happened to me with all the opportunities of the horses and the backcountry hunting.
He went the other way.
Yeah, they went the other way.
Nice.
Well, I had to stop about after a week's work on this.
I remember when Alan and I were painting the big truck.
Now, Gary, that's yours to keep.
I think we painted it and sanded it five times before we got it right.
That was the first time we ever tried anything like that.
Yes, I wasn't more than about 7 or 8 years old. I think.
I had to have somebody around with the sandpaper.
Yeah, Molly.
Shop now.